evening and welcome to the Cheltenham Exchange preview nights for the festival. This will be our day one preview. Before we start, a couple of things. First of all, we need to thank all you subscribers out there. I think we're up to over 200 subscribers now on the YouTube channel, which is great news. So thanks for all those views, subscribes, likes, all that business. Second of all, you will probably have noticed we've got a special guest with us tonight. Flown over directly from Ireland tonight, Mr. Gordon Elliott with us.
Pound shop Gordon Elliott.
This is Alex Galpin, who's a native of Cheltenham, so particularly handy when we're looking at what the weather's like and stuff like that. Proper expert. Yes.
Isn't it nice to have another Englishman in the group, not have to listen to you three Welshmen?
Let's not go down the race route, Ian. Let's not go down the race route.
Add in a bit of balance.
Okay. So yeah, as I say, this is our day one preview, and we'll kick things off straight away. We'll try and keep it as short as possible. We're still pretty new to this, but the boys have been doing some great stuff out there. So I'll leave the experts to their job, and we'll kick off day one straight away with the Sky Bet Supreme Novices Hurdle. And seeing as he's a guest, it would only be polite to kick off with Alex here.
Okay. Now, all year I've wanted Sir Gerhard to go in this race, and I finally accepted I don't think he's going to go in the race. I think what's going to happen is Mullins is going to send Dysart Dynamo and Kilcret here. So he probably looks at his novices and thinks, my best one's Sir Gerhard, and then I'll put up my next two best together and see what they can do. So my selection for this race would be Kilcret. He looked like he's not the most natural. He wasn't the most natural as a bumper horse. He didn't win his first bumper race, and then he improved over the season. And I think he's done exactly the same over hurdles. His most recent run, which was the only one he's had, was really impressive. I can't have Constitution Hill, and I mean, at the prices, I'd rather have Kilcret than John Bomb.
Interesting. Very interesting. It's definitely gone against the boys there, I would have thought. Then, Ian, what's your thoughts on that? And obviously,
unbelievable. So I'm still going to stick with John Bon, and said the weekend, Nell's son won at the weekend and give John Bon's form a nice little boost. I see a few people concerned from previous I watched about John Bon sweating. Yes, he does sweat. I've seen even the
like Chris Andrew.
Yeah, the trots around Newbury and his races, he does get het up and he does get sweaty during his races, but I wouldn't be concerned. I know there'll be 80,000 people at Cheltenham, but that won't worry me. He's still won very, very well, so that won't concern me. Just to echo what Alex said, to say I still think Sir G might still come here. He is the threat to John Bon in my eyes. I don't know, and again, I can't have Constitution Hill gone through the form again, and the heavy ground winds and the Sandown forms doesn't translate very well sometimes to Supreme runs. So I'm going to stick with John Bon.
Okay, John Bon for Ian. Matty, I think I know where you're going.
Oh, you know why? Yeah, if Sir Gerhard runs here, Sir Gerhard wins the race. The only reason why he's not favourite on the exchanges is obviously because of the talk of where he will go. He's got the strongest form in 2 mile division with his Dublin Racing Festival victory. Hopefully he'll learn from that, and he has been well schooled. They've probably been well schooled since. The 2nd, 3rd and 7th have come out of his hurdle debut and won since. Island Charge, Ashtree Meadows gone and won over 2 mile 4, and Govern's won. He just looks tailor-made for the race, OJ. If he doesn't come here, I'm with Mighty Potter. Seems to be going under the radar, but he could be a market mover on the day. Like I've said previously, he won by 29 lengths on hurdle debut, but that probably flattered him because the Greek fell 2 out. He stirred in the Royal Bond in a race that probably wasn't run to suit. He seemed to go a little bit slower than what he would have liked, so it didn't help him settle, but he picked up to finish strongly to run into 3rd. He then went out and won a Grade 1 next time in the Future Champions Novice Hurdle. at Christmas when beating 3 Striped Lights by 1.5 lengths. That looks quite strong form with 3 Striped Lights finishing 6th and 2nd behind Sir Gerhard at the Dublin Racing Festival. Hopefully he has the tactical speed to keep tabs on the leaders and he jumps well. And if he does, he should be bang there at the business end, staying on strongly at the hill. I agree with the lads. You know I'm not a fan of Constitution Hill. I just can't take to him at all. If he goes and wins it, I'll hold my hands up and admit that I was wrong. I think John Bond's the stronger of the two. However, 3 on the day that could probably finish in the top 3. Alex has mentioned Kilcrut. I like Mighty Potter, and I think Dysart Dynamo as well, because he looks like the one that's going to be coming here. But if Sir Gerhard runs here, Sir Gerhard wins.
Okay, so John, what's your thoughts, mate?
With going last, it means I don't have to say much because most of it's said. But I just can't believe that with a week to go, we're still playing Mullins bingo on this one, and we still don't know who's going where. Now, I'm still in the Sir G camp as I was on the original preview. Nothing's changed on that. It's just whether he rocks up here or not now. So if Sir G comes here, then he's still my selection in this race due to what I said last time and what Matty's spoken about already. Now, if he is the one to step up to the Ballymore and Dysart goes here, then I'd be all over John Bon for it. I just think Dysart will set off at a cracking pace and John Bon will just get a great toe into the race. And we already know he finds off the bridle as he did last time at Haydock, in pretty bad ground. So I just think that's in his favour, really, if Sir G does go up. I'd be quite keen on John Bon in this. So, yeah, just recapping, really, OJ, it's Sir G if he comes here. If he doesn't, then it's John Bon for me.
Okay, mate, thank you. It's...
Before we move on, OJ.
Yeah.
I don't see why... I mean, we all say in the Mullins bingo, why can't Dysart Dino and Sir Gerhard both run in?
I was just going to ask that. I was just going to ask,
can you see it campaigned over 2 miles throughout the whole season. Kilcrut's the one that's ran over further when he was second to Journey with me.
Yeah.
So I know they've already said Kilcrut's coming here, but he's the one that's run over the distance.
He's already confirmed Kilcrut comes here, and he said he's going to split the other two, isn't he?
Yeah, they've both been campaigned over 2 miles. So for me, they should just both run here.
I think he probably would run Sir G here. I think he probably thinks it's the best race, but because Dysart Dynamo runs so freely, I don't think he's really got an option to run that in the Ballymore. I think he'd run out of petrol halfway around.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at exchanges now, Dysart Dynamo shortened considerably for the market on the exchanges into 4.9. Now Sir Gerhard's out to 8.8.
He does keep saying he's going to leave it for Paul to decide whether Dysart Dynamo can settle, doesn't he?
The good thing about it, though,
Patrick said that he did get him settled in the bumper, the 2 mile 2 bumper. So he said he can be settled when he's behind horses. And that's what he said he was going to speak to Paul about. So it seems like he's leaving the decision with him.
That's one of the best things about Ante-Post, isn't it? We all have a take a punt at the start of the season, during the season, where we think they're going to end up. None of us know. And until final declarations, they've got every right to keep it to their chest where they're going to run. Because, like Willie's already said, it could be a flip of the coin, which one goes there.
Isn't it? Because it's probably the most talked about race of the festival, to be honest, isn't it? And it promises to be a good race, whatever, I guess.
Well, he's got his owners to look after, hasn't he? If he thinks Sir Gerhard's the best, he'll run him here and he'll step. If he thinks Dysart's got a chance of winning the Ballymore, he'll go there. If he thinks Dysart Dynamo or Kilcrut could come here and Sir Gerhard can win the other one, then he wants winners, doesn't he? But for me, I'd throw them both in the Supreme. They've both been campaigned as 2 milers this season.
Okay, great stuff. So an interesting selection from Alex there with Kilcrut. Ian's John Bonkamp. And John and Matty still siding with Sir Gerhard, but options otherwise. If he doesn't come here, they're looking again at John Bon and Mighty Potter, was it?
Yeah,
happy to wrap up there, boys?
Happy?
Yeah, really keen on Mighty Potter, mate.
Okie dokes. So we move on to the Arkle Chase, won last year by Ian's favourite Shishkin. Okay, so we'll kick off here, Ian. you can give us your thoughts to begin.
I'm still staying with Blue Lord, and the what I keep hearing is a lot of people I think are starting to believe the same as I am. He does have the class to do it. Riviere de Tel will lose £2. I still have £7, but see, in previous runs against Fernie Hollow and Blue Lord, should I say? Mine went bang a bit. He was getting like £9 and £11, I think. But I think I still make it that Riviere de Tel still needs to find a couple of lengths on Blue Lord. But I think if Blue Lord can just get in front just before the last, I think he'll have enough. Edwardstone I still can't have. Looked again, not really beat anything in third time lucky in solo. Alan King's record at Cheltenham was absolutely piss poor. I think he's had no wins in 5 or 6 years. There's nothing really that's swayed me. The only, I think a couple of the lads talked about a horse called Magic Days that could potentially come into the places, especially with some of the others that potentially might go up, like Saint Sam and Horton Couleurs. And so if they pull out, Magic Days could have a good shot for the places. But I'm going to stick with Blue Lord.
Okay, mate. John, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's interesting that with Willie in this race, that he normally only runs one in the Arkle, but he's got potential to run maybe 2 or 3 this time. Obviously, Blue Lord being his main one, but I think one of the others might join Blue Lord as well, because I don't particularly think that he might, he thinks that Blue Lord is as strong as what he's had in this in previous years. So I expect him to throw maybe Saint Sam or Horton Couleurs in here as well, or maybe even Sealed in the Age, who I quite like at a big price. But going back to my original selection from the other video, it was Riviere de Tel. And again, I've got nothing really has happened in this race with these runners since then. So I've got no reason to change my selection on this. I think the weight allowance will obviously help. She does jump pretty well despite that last fence mistake at the Dublin Racing Festival. But I think she'll be there or thereabouts. And, I still think she's a decent shout in this for me.
Okay, Riviere de Tel. Matty.
Yeah, I've got no bet in the race. Obviously, absolutely gutted Fernie Hollow's not turning up here. I keep getting drawn into Edwardstone. I know people are saying it's in British form, it's not the best. I'll decide on the day if I'm going to have a bet on him, because I think he will drift out on the day, because I do think the Irish will go for Blue Lord, Riviere de Tel. He's extremely unlucky not to be beaten over fences this season. He did unseat on a chase start back in 2020. He brought down on seasonal debut in November when jumping the fence well, but For Pleasure fell in front of him. I watched all his chase runs back this season on Friday, and he jumps extremely well. He's very quick away from his fences. I watched his run in the county hurdle at last year's festival, where he finished strongly for 5th. So on that, I have no issues about the course and hill for him. He'd been ridden more prominently over fences than he was over hurdles, except at Kempton 2 starts ago, where he was dropped out. Age is a worry with him being an 8-year-old. The last 8-year-olds to win it was Size in Europe in 2010 and Moscow Flyer in 2002. Before them, it was Commandant in 1990.
Stuffed me there. You've stuffed me. I had the stat ready.
Oh no, you stole it.
Ready to say no 8-year-olds winning the last 10 years. Right, that's it.
However, Size in Europe and Moscow Flyer both rated in the high 150s when winning this, and Edwardstone is rated 159 over fences. More a look at the race, my stronger the view on him winning becomes. Like I said earlier on, he will be a bet on the day for me, as he may get pushed out, as the money will come to Blue Lord and Riviere de Tel.
Okay, mate. So not overly bothered, but you're edging towards Edwardstone in there then.
If I have a bet on the day, it will be Edwardstone, yeah. But other than that, I mean, the Fernie news crucified me. So,
okay, mate. Alex, give us your views, please, sir.
I love Edwardstone.
Can I just interject here and let you know that no 8-year-old has won it in the last 10 years?
Oh, I heard that before.
For me, he's the bet of the day. He's running some really, really sort of strong pace races. Most of the races he's had this season have had For Pleasure in them. And as we know, For Pleasure likes to go off like an absolute scolded cat, really. Just flies out from the front. So he's he can handle these sort of races in terms of the pace it's going to be. I know a lot of people have crabbed his sort of hurdles form and said he was never particularly brilliant, but I mean, he finished third in the Betfair hurdle last year off quite a high weight. He finished fifth at Cheltenham in the county, and then he finished third at Aintree, and he was giving away weight, I mean, to some very unexposed horses. So I'm pretty happy with this hurdle form. Normally there's a sort of a standout Irish horse, isn't there? There's nothing like that this year. And I think Edwardstone would probably normally finish second or third in a normal Arkle. I think this is below a normal Arkle. So for me, I think he's the one that's going to win.
Great stuff. Happy with that. So Matty and Alex heading down the Edwardstone route. John, you're sticking with Riviere d'Etel.
Yeah.
And Ian, you're sticking with Blue Lord. You've been with all along.
Yes, my lord.
Very good, sir. Right. And we move on to have a bit more of a chat. Our first handicap analysis of the meeting so far. Obviously, we've touched on the other races, so we move on to the Ultima. And last year's winner, Vintage Clouds, back in here again, I assume. John, we'll come to you first.
Yeah, there's a couple I like to mention in this one, to be honest with you. Obviously, the first handicap of the week. Normally a good one as well. It's normally one of the best this race, I think, as far as the handicaps go anyway. I like Does He Know of Kim Bailey's. Now, he has still got an entry in the National Hunt Chase as well, so I'm hoping that they think he's not good enough to go there and he comes down this route, because I've got on him at a decent price, Ante-Post. I still think that he's on a decent mark. He's already won at the course. I just think Kim Bailey had Happy-Go-Lucky in the same race last year that ran Vintage Clouds very close, looked the winner all over, jump in the last, but just didn't find enough up the hill, really. So I just think he's a good profile, a good fit for this race. The other one I'm quite keen on is Fantasticas, fantastically named Fantasticas, I should say. Again, has some good form and on a good mark of 144. Did only just win by, I think it was like a nose or a short head last time at the course. But I think he idled a little bit. So, hoping finds a little bit more this time. The other one, which would be of interest if he sneaked in here, would be Come On Teddy, but he's on 137, so he's probably borderline at the minute and may end up in the Kim Muir. So he'd be one to sort of play on the day, extra places at a decent price. But going back to Does He Know, he'd be my first choice if he rocks up here.
Okay, Does He Know? That's great stuff. We'll go to Matty next. Seeing as I think you've got quite a strong fancy in this one, haven't you, Matty?
Yeah, there's three I like. The strongest one is Vintage Clouds. He's a favourite of mine. The age stat is against him, but it didn't stop him last year when he won. He had a prep run last week in the Veterans Handicap Chase at Doncaster, where he ran very well. Finished only second of three, but he was close enough. He'll be running off 144 in this, which is £1 higher than last year. He looks to have been campaigned with another tilt in mind. And at 28 to 1, he's far too big of a price to let him run without being unbacked. Another I like in the race is a horse called Rapper. He's available around 25 to 28 to 1. He does have the option of going in the Kim Muir, but whichever race he comes, I will back him. He's had 4 chase runs. He was tried over fences in October 2020, where he finished 4th of 11. He didn't run then until the reappearance run over hurdles in November last year, where he was pulled up before the last hurdle. Then sent him back over fences, and he finished 2nd of 3. And he's won his last 2 chase starts, and he's raised £6 for his latest win. He would be running off 143 if he goes here. Could be a lenient, as I think he's a progressive type. The last one's a bit of a mad sort of angle, and obviously with me being a fan of Vintage Clouds, delving into the race a little bit more, I'm probably looking for an angle that isn't there, to be honest.
Not another old boy, is it?
And he's also got an entry in the plate on Thursday, and that's Almadam, 50 to 1 for Dan Skelton. He ran in it last year off 145, carrying 10 stone 13. He's off 137 this year, and he's currently down to run off 9 stone 13, depending on top weight. Finished 7th last year behind Vintage Clouds. That's where this angle's come from. Obviously, he was beating 12 lengths, and he was rated £2 higher than Vintage Clouds then. he goes in it this year, he'll be rated £7 lower than Vintage Clouds. So is that £8 or £9 swing? The Vintage Clouds going off 144. It was reported last year by the vet after the race he lost his right foreshoe. He ran very well and he dropped from 2nd to 7th after 2 out. Like I said, it could be me looking at an angle that isn't there, but at 50 to 1, non-runner, no bet, I think it's worth an each way squeak.
Worth a bash at 50 to 1. I'll have my usual 50p each way on that. Okay, we'll go to our. Who should we go to next? Well, we've got to go to Alex. Got to go to Alex next.
Similar to Johnny, really. I really like Fantasticas. Won't add any more because he's pretty much said everything I wanted to say. I also really like a horse of Lucinda Russell's, Korak Rambler. He ran at Cheltenham in December, and I think he was really impressive. My only real issue with him is that sometimes he looks like he can be quite lazy, and he needs a jockey to sort of get really stuck into him, which I'm sure they'll find someone. I think Derek Box is up to the job. He ran at Ascot last month, unseated. He didn't look to be going particularly well, but I mean, having seen how he's run before, he does his best work at the end of the race. So, I mean, his form would time in with Does He Know? I mean, I think he would have beaten Does He Know on that day, and he's £9 better off than he would have been than he was at Ascot. So, to me, it's a no-brainer, really. I can't see him out of the front first 3.
Interesting. What sort of price are you looking at there, Al?
Jockey, doesn't he, on him?
About 11 to 1.
12 to 1.
Yeah, you can get 13.5 on the exchanges. But with Alex saying that, with the way he runs, and obviously we spoke to Dave last week and he was keen on him just like Alex is. You go on to Sky Bet, you can get him 5 to 2 to place in the top 5.
That's pretty good.
I think that's a cracking bet.
I think if you're going to do a place accumulator on the day, I think he's rock solid. I mean, he's carrying 10 stone 2. I mean, I think it's a great bet.
Yeah.
Hey, great stuff. And the Rain Man. What's your thoughts on this one, mate? Come on, I know you've got a nugget here for us.
Well, it's free I like, but I think there's potential that 3 of them might not turn up. So here it goes. There's 2, Imperial Alcazar and Alex's mate Fuser Raffles. They've both I believe they both ran and won over 3 miles, and they've got Imperial Alcazar's got a mark of 152 and 11 stone, and Fuser Raffles got a mark of 149 and he's 10-11. Now they've got better marks and better weights here, but the market suggests, even though they've got higher marks and higher weights, they may go to the plate, both of them. But I think they should go here. I think it's especially Imperial Alcazar. It's got lovely weights, but they're my worries. And my other, if neither of them go, it's similar pick to John. But Kim Bailey said to me, does he know he's a 50-50? Because he's again another. I must attract picking lunatic horses because he's another loony horse. Doesn't necessarily like Cheltenham and gets a bit hepped up and a bit crazy. But they're the 3. But I'm hoping all 3 will go. I'll prefer Imperial Alcazar if he does. But if the other 2 don't, then I'll be joining John in the Does He Know camp.
Okay, great stuff. So John and Ian both pretty keen on Does He Know. Alex has got a nailed-on placer for us in Korak Rambler. Matty siding towards last year's winner, I guess, with Vintage Clouds.
Strongest bet in that Vintage Clouds. If Rapper runs it, I'll be having a bet on him, OJ.
Okay.
And obviously, if Al does sneak in off 137, then he's a bet.
I'm gonna have to ask. I'm not a Paul Nicholls fan by any stretch of the imagination, but throw Dons in here. Anyone got any thoughts on that at all? Can you see just going playing off and having the class to?
Has he got an entry anywhere else? Is it just purely the Ultima?
Just the Ultima.
Good question.
Just entered in the Ultima.
Wow.
He's best price 14 and he's 20s on the exchanges, frozen. But
he could quite well be the graded horse and handicap. Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's the thought. That's what I was thinking.
Especially with his run beating Galpin earlier on the season, the way Galpin's progressed throughout the season as well.
Mm.
I think it'd be one of them. Is how many horses
would he get an easy?
On?
Would he get an easy time of it up front?
Yeah, exactly. He likes to be up front on his own, and if people start hassling him, other horses start hassling him, then he spits a dummy a little bit. But a big field like this, there's every chance that someone will try and take him on. But yeah, he might be a decent shout, OJ.
Yeah, I think it would be. Probably right there. If he gets hassled, it'd be win only, wouldn't it? If he bowls along in front.
Yeah, he'll have a win or pull up.
Yeah. There was just one that caught my eye a bit. I was having a look myself. Okie dokes, gents. So, I think we've wrapped that one up, and we can move on to the champion hurdle, which I'm guessing we're not going to be talking about for too long.
Won't take long.
Ian, you haven't been first yet, so I'm going to have to come to you first, mate. I'm afraid.
Okay. So I'm sticking with Honeysuckle, but shock. But the one I like is in the without market, and that's Zanahiyr. So Zanahiyr was second in the W Racer Festival, behind Honeysuckle, and second to Sharjah, he was a good. Shame he's come out in the race. He's good mile stick. So I think that's some cracking form. I'm still, even now, even though with a week to go, I'm still not sure Appreciate will turn up. I think something will happen. I know Mullins has come out and said he's trained well. It still wouldn't shock me if he's not declared. But so Honeysuckle, Zanahiyr without for me.
Okay, great stuff. Alex?
I'll keep it simple. Honeysuckle wins, and I'll probably do have a place bet on Adagio. I think he's rock solid. He's never out of the first two. I think he'll be second. I mean, he ran a cracker at Cheltenham in November in the Greatwood. He carried top weight, and he still finished second to some really unexposed horses. The form for that race, from the Greatwood has worked out really well. There's so many winners all the way down. Adagio for me to place, and Honeysuckle will win as far as she wants to.
Matthew?
Yeah, I'm just going to keep Honeysuckle wins as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, Willie Mullins, he is the man if he's going to train Appreciate to come out to do it after a year off. I was going to look at the similar angle to what Alex has just said about Adagio. I thought he was running against Goshen after coming out after that injury. Was it injury or wind off? Did he have one of the two? When he finished behind Goshen after a second in the Greatwood. He's 100-30 to place in the top three on Sky Bet. I just found a different market, which is the non-Irish train, non-running no bet. So I'm assuming that's best of the British, is it?
Okay.
Can't say I've heard of that one.
Epatant's 4-7 and Adagio's out 7-2. I can definitely see him finishing against Epatant. I think that 7-2 is a good price. The non-Irish train, non-runner bet, because even if the Irish finish the top three and he finishes fourth, you're getting 7-2, aren't you?
That's a nice little find, that, isn't it? In a race that'll
probably be my play, mate. I've got Honeysuckle in a couple of accumulators, but I think on my play will be that now. After finding that 7-2 non-Irish train.
Adagio's got great course form. Alex, you would know.
Yeah, he won the. He finished second in the Greatwood. He was second in the Triumph last year. He won the 4-year-old hurdle. I think it was in January on either Trials Day or New Year's Day, and I think he was second in the October. So, I mean, yeah, good form. He after the horse.
And John?
Yeah, it's no surprise really, OJ. It's one of them just to the race, isn't it? Literally same as what Ian said. Honeysuckle to win. I'd probably go Zanahiyr down the place route. One of these place hackers. Maybe throw it in with Korak Rambler and a couple of others for a little 4-timer on the day. But I think Zanahiyr is the one who can improve probably, along with Adagio. The younger horses probably improve more. So, those two are decent place chances. So, yeah, I just think it's pretty straightforward. This again, like Ian says, you know, whether appreciate it shows up or not. I mean, he could be anything, couldn't he? But you know, I'd just like to have seen him run. And you can't be taking the price about him now, you know, without having a run for 12 months. It's just ridiculous. It's way too short. You know, he should be double that. And, you know, then he'd become an each way bet, so the bookies won't chance that, will they? So, yeah, Honeysuckle and's on here to place for me, OJ.
Okay, great stuff.
Just touching on that Adagio bet that I mentioned, OJ.
Yep.
Jamie Moore was on the finishing line preview the other night when they did one at Brentford last week. And he said Adagio would be his place, but he said he thought he ran a great race behind Goshen, with Goshen being a beast right hand. See, Goshen's not going here. He said he thinks he's a great. So the place market or the non-Irish trained first home looks the way to go, definitely.
It sounds a decent bet. Great stuff. Okay, so general consensus is unsurprisingly Honeysuckle to follow up again this year. I've read quite a few people who weren't very impressed with her at Dublin. They've sort of played that down a bit.
Seen him run better. Let's just say that.
Okay.
She did what she had to.
Yeah. She does what she had to. She didn't have to overexert herself. Once she hit the front and the race was work, just see the race out. She didn't have to. You're not going to be super impressive every time you run, are you?
No, absolutely. No point looking at things that are not there necessarily. So, speaking of mares, we'll move on to the mares hurdle. And are we going to we'll go back to Alex again then, I think, this one.
Okay. My favourite horse runs in this race. My favourite horse runs in this race. Indefatigable is my selection. She ran really well, went fourth last year. I think she only finished about 4.5, 5 lengths behind the winner in Black Tears. Second and third were Concertista and Roxana, and there's nothing of that quality in the race this year. She ran a great race again early this year at Wetherby when she beat Paisley Park, Thomas Darby, who went on to win again, and then Master Tommy Tucker and a few others. She never puts two good races together. And she had a bit of a stinker in February at Warwick. So, I mean, I'd probably be more worried that she wouldn't do well if she had won at Warwick, because, as I say, she never puts two good runs together. And I mean, at 33-1, considering what she's done, I mean, she won the Martin Pipe, didn't she, a few years ago? Flew up the hill. Yeah, she's my selection.
No surprises there, but it's cracking
more
price.
of a bet with the heart than with the head, though, if I'm honest.
Okay, mate. Great stuff. Where we go next? We go John next.
She only won that Martin Pipe because Column of Fire fell, Alex.
She flew up that hill. She'd have won that race
had to
anyway.
Get that one in.
You did. Thanks for the tip that day, Alex, by the way.
Oh, we were all on it.
Yeah, well, OJ is an old favourite for me as well in this one. I'm still very much with Heaven Helpers. Followed her all season on a big price early doors. She has quite a few runs this season, which I'm hoping doesn't affect in any way. Last time it was over 2 miles, so I put a line through that, and it was against Honeysuckle as well. So, you know, can't really count that. I think it was just a blowout. A couple of weeks ago, since we did the last preview, there was a race where Burning Victory beat Queensbrook. So those two have sort of thrown themselves into the hat since then, I think. Burning Victory seemed to jump a little bit better in that race. Queensbrook was gaining at the finish as well. So, you know, I think those two have got good chances, to be honest. Now, I think they've put themselves in the mix. But
Burning Victory's got some good flat form,
yes, very good. Yeah, I mean, second in the Cesarewitch. Behind Buzz. So yeah, Heaven Help Us for me. I still think she's a double-figure price, actually, which I'm surprised at. But the market is quite sort of congested at the moment. I think there's a lot of horses between sort of 3 and 7 or 8 to 1. So she still could be a value on the day. You know, you might get an extra place with someone. So yeah, I think she'll run a race. The other worry is if Stormy Island sort of takes her on, which there is every chance of that. You know, I do see that, but I'm hoping that she gets a bit of a lead and nothing catches her again like she did in the Coral Cup last year.
Okay, great stuff. So Heaven help us for John. Matty, on that note.
Yeah, just noticed, John, if you do want to go back in on Heaven help us, he's drifted out to 22s on the exchanges.
Wow, that's some price.
8s, 13s, 22 latest price recorded. Stormy Island for me. She's caught my eye. She won last time out at Cheltenham on New Year's Day, making it 4 wins at the trip. She was transferred to from Mullins Yard to Paul Nichols in October 2020 and had 4 runs for Nichols before moving back to Mullins at the end of March last year without winning a race while she was there. She's moving back to Willie. She's won 3 out of 5 starts and looks to have regained her spark. Back in March 2020, she went off at 7-1 in this race, which was won by Honeysuckle and Benny to do. Benny to do a close second. Earlier that season, she beat Black Tears, who won this race last year. It's wide open this year, though. I'll be keeping stakes to a minimum because cases can be made for many, but Stormy Island is my selection.
Stormy Island for Matty, great stuff. And Ian.
I'm going to stick with Tell Me Something Girl. I make it that she still has her £6 in hand. She weighed 11.9. And she gave £5 to Roll Kahala and £8 to Heaven Help Us. Back in December, was only beaten a length. And then she was beaten 8 lengths in November when she weighed 11.11. Dysart Diamond won the race at 11.1. Roll Kahala was 11.1. And I think Getaway Star, I think was again a stone, I believe. So it's, I know she's not won, but I think she's just she won the Mayor's Novice last year very impressively. So I still make her the one that's got lots in hand. Stormy Island, I'm having a look at the race again. Do you guys think that she would have won if Brewing Up a Storm would have fell?
We'll never know. Jump in the name of the game. We'll never know, will we? It's one of them.
No. And one I've looked at maybe an each trade price, I think found about 12-1 is Marie's Rock. 2 wins at Kempton and Warwick this year. Again, Alex brought up about that Greatwood race and some of the form lines that come into it. She was 6th or 7th, I believe. So again, she's come out of that and won twice. So it's 12-1 is a nice little price. But Tell Me Something Girl, I'm going to stick with OJ.
I agree with you on me and Marie's Rock there, Ian, because I wanted her to go with Coral Cup off a marker 140. And you're right, with Heaven Help Us and Stormy Island both being in the race, it could be set up for some Tell Me Something Girl to sit out the back and come late. And I agree with John's point on Queen's Brook. She'll really improve for her latest.
Henry's horse is going to be running into form.
Oh, he's just starting to come back into form.
They've had a better week or two, haven't they?
You think Concertista will come here?
No.
Mrs. Milner?
No. I loved her for Temps last year, mate, as you know. They're going to have to go, I don't know, is the trip far enough for these? I don't know.
It was just well.
Not for me, but year, she was well handicapped last year.
Very well.
Okay. Great stuff. So have a quick wrap up there. So Ian's Tell Me Something Girl, John, Heaven Help Us, no move there. Matty, Stormy Island, and Alex has got his old favourite 33-1
Indefatigable.
Fantastic.
The one that no one can pronounce.
Indefatigable, especially after a load of wine and beer.
Yeah.
And 10 Guinness, yeah.
Right. Okay, so we move on to the Fred Winter, the Boodles. Jeff Kidder won last year, I believe.
Yeah, 80-1.
Sorry.
No, 80-1, big price last year.
That's it, yeah, absolutely. So, Ian, you can kick us off here.
Okay.
Good luck.
I should have said nothing.
Just because you've put it in there.
I still like Champion Green, but my worry is he's got a mark of 125, so may just scrape in. So a weight of 10.7 at the minute. This is won his previous race, and I think the race before that he was well fancied for, pulled up quite quickly, and we found out later that the saddle had slipped. So that again might affect a form, but not too much. Just go through some of the others. Gaelic Warrior is don't know. I think a mark of 129 is a ceiling mark, but again, never raced over here, so it's a bit of an unknown. I think Matty might be able to turn some exchanges, but I think it's an unbackable price at the minute. One I like each way is HMS Seahorse. Got a nice mark of 128 1010, form behind Pied Piper and Vauban. And another one I believe that Alex likes as well, the same as me, is one called Swing in London. Had to change a yard to Ollie Murphy. Funny enough, was fourth. Champion Green was fourth in one of the races behind Swing in London. Since then, won a maiden hurdle at Fakenham. But yeah, I'm going to stick with Champion Green.
Champion Green for
Against
it. Okay. Good man. Matty.
Yeah. Oh, you want me to go? One sec.
Lost his nose.
No. I was looking at the football. Yeah, I mean, I know I said on Dave's preview last week I had a brief look at Brazil while we were recording. One further looking into the race, I have now settled on HMS Seahorse at 12-1. Third on hurdle debut, beating 15 lengths behind Pied Piper and Vauban, 9 lengths clear of the rest. Second to the tide turns next time out, beating just under 3 lengths, and Brazil behind him back in fourth. Won his last start at Fairy House. Looks to have been brought along nicely for this and has been nicely treated by the British Handicap, who will run off a mark of 128, carrying around 10 stone 10. Side turns in Brazil have both been given a mark of 137, carrying around 11 stone 5, so HMS Seahorse will be getting £9 from him. Regardless of how nice a mark Gaelic Warrior looks to have been given at 129, at the price he is now, you just can't have him. Going to the Fred Winter first time out for connection since moving from France in a 22 runner maximum field. The 4-year-old handicap hurdle, he's just worth taking on. I know if you're on at a bigger price, you're worth taking the punt, aren't you? I think HMS Seahorse, when he ran in that race, he's ran in three races over hurdles, third out of 20, second out of 20, 1 out of 14. So he won't mind the hustle and bustle of the big field. So yeah, he's my selection, OJ.
Okay, great stuff. HMS Seahorse. John.
Well, yeah, this is a bit of a nightmare of a race, really, isn't it? I mean, you've got 4-year-olds sort of all improving at different rates. You've got some who have been hiding their marks quite obviously through the season and, you know, finishing way down the field and behind other decent horses in some of the other races. I've changed my mind about 4 or 5 times, to be honest, and that's just today. I think last week on Dave's preview, I put up C sessions, but I've been doing a little bit more digging since then. And I've come out now with Prairie Dancer, who's going to be thrown in here on 126. Now, he was 7.5 lengths behind Ikari Allen last time out. Now, if Ikari Allen was to go in this race, he'd probably go the Triumph. He would be £13 better off than Ikari Allen. And I think he's quite a good sort of yardstick in this race. So he'd be weighted to sort of, you know, beat him by the looks of it on those ratings there. So I've just gone down the line of him, really. I've tried to find one of the better horses that are still in the mix and just found out who's got the closest to them. Because when they raced, they went off levels. So, you know, I just think he's been one of the ones that I was mentioning who's been hiding his handicap mark. I think he's better than 126. So the favourite's well too short. He'll go off 15 to 8, 2 to 1 on the day. So you can't back that unless you're already on. So it's best to go with the each way value, and Prairie Dancer for me is that one, OJ.
Okay, great stuff. And Alex, who's your shout, mate?
As Ian said, I really like Swinging London. I hate this race. It's impossible to predict. You can get a hot pot that finishes last. You can get an 80-1 that finishes first. It's just a lottery, really. Reason I like Swinging London. 2 runs in Ireland and at Elmery Holden. First run was beaten 14 lengths by Iberic Desoy. Second run beaten a length. So, I mean, to me, looks progressive. Then got bought by and moved to Ollie Murphy's yard. Ran once at Fakenham, and after the race, Ollie Murphy said he's going to go to the Boodles. And then, quite interestingly, he said he's then going to go to a race in America afterwards. So, I mean, they've obviously got quite a high opinion of him. And then the other one I quite like is one that Johnny mentioned to me a few weeks ago. The one that has the form with Gaelic Warrior, Johnny, Tanganyika.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that one.
Yeah, its form in France ties it in with the favourite Gaelic Warrior. And I think we worked out it's going to be £9 better off versus Gaelic Warrior. Is that right, Johnny?
Yeah, I think it was 9. Yeah.
So I mean, that one might be good at a price. I mean, it's 50 to 1, I think it is.
What mark did he get? Do you know?
Oh, yeah, now, mate, one sec.
I'll tell you
now.
now.
In front of me.
Tanganyika, 121.
121.
So it's number 36. It might not get in the race, but if it does, I mean, his only run over here was third behind Porticello, which, I mean, that's not bad form, is it?
No, decent.
So I mean, it might be one that's worth a go at a price, non-run, no bet each way.
Great stuff. I thought you said Tanganga for a minute and being a top.
Oh, nice.
Tanganyika.
Okay,
that's not from me, it's from Johnny.
Johnny via Alex.
I didn't put that one up because I couldn't say
it. Okay, so a quick recap on that one because it is wide open, obviously. So quick recap before we go. Ian's on Champion Green, John Prairie Dancer, HMS Seahorse for Matty, and Swinging London for Alex. Sound about right, boys?
Yeah, good.
Good stuff. Right, and we move on to the last race of day one, National Hunt Chase, won last year impressively by Galpin, which is a sweet moment for a few people here, I'm pretty sure. In which case, we're going to have to go to John first here, aren't we?
Well, yeah, it's all about Fred, OJ. Nothing's changed on this one either since last time. Still think he's the one to be on. I've noticed quite a few pundits putting him up in these previews the last few days. Katie Walsh said he'd be the one that she would ride in this race as well, which is a decent little pointer. He's had the 10 runs. Obviously, he's only won once, but I think this has been 2 years in the making for this race. He's the most experienced by far, and I think that'll just, stand him in good stead on the day. Of the others, Vanilla, I still, even though I can't take to the horse, I still think he is the biggest danger. And I've noticed quite a bit of money coming for him the last few days. I'm sure he's about 9 to 2, 5 to 1 now. Well, he was 11 to 1 this time last week. So, he's one of Cromwell's, isn't he? So maybe they've had a few quid on him. But yeah, it's Run Wild Fred for me, please, OJ.
Well, Fred, great stuff. Matty?
Yeah, I really like On the Ropes for this. I'm not sure if he's going, OJ. I'm sure I've read somewhere he's going straight to the National. If he does turn up here, then he'll be my play. I was going to say I wasn't going to likely have a bet, so there wouldn't be a point in putting up a selection for the sake of it. But I've just realised Jamie Codd's going to be on Brayside, isn't he?
Yeah,
so he is.
Similar profile to Run Wild Fred. Second season novice chaser. Yeah, but only because Jamie Codd's riding, that's the only reason why it's interesting. Caught my eye.
Okay. Alex?
I know Johnny hates it, but I quite like Statler.
2.5 miler.
To me, I think he'll either win or he'll be nowhere. But yeah, I quite like him. As I say, win or nowhere, I won't back him each way. I'll put some money on the nose. Wasn't entirely sure if he'd stay, but his run at Nace at the end of January, I mean, he looked to be doing his best work at the end. Ran against Farouk Delen, who I think is a pretty good yardstick. Also beat Vanillier by, I don't know, 15, 20 lengths. He was quite a long way back. And I mean, one maybe a little bit of a price, like Matty said, would be Brayside. I think he could run well. JJ on board, he knows exactly how to win these kind of races. I think he'd be a great bet to place. You can imagine him just keeping him out of trouble all the way around, keeping him switched off, and then trying to power him home.
Okay, great stuff. So Statler, pretty short now, isn't it? I think it's
11 to 4, same as Fred. I think Fred's a bit of a pig.
How dare you?
Doesn't know how to get his head in front. If he wins, brilliant. But because I know Johnny's on for big prices, but I couldn't touch him at 11-4. He's won one chase in 10 starts. Like, yeah, not for me.
Great stuff. On that note, Ian.
I still like Ron Wilfred. I'm siding with Johnny.
Good lad.
So won the Tri-Town this year over 3 mile, was second in the Irish Grand National, so he will stay the trip in a registered trip. Second behind Fury Road at a 3 mile. I think it's about 8 lengths behind, but the others say I've written here a couple of notes. Statler definitely won't stay 3 mile 6. Was fourth in the Albert Bartlett, 14 lengths behind, 13 lengths behind. Galpin Deschamps at Punchestown. I know, granted, has won a 3 mile at Nace in January, but if he can't stay the Albert Bartlett trip, he won't stay this. Vanillier is the other one, third favourite, won the Albert Bartlett, but not done much since. 18 lengths behind Statler in January, 18 lengths behind Fury Road in December. Not for me. And echo what the guys have said about Braeside. Jamie Codd has been confirmed to ride in, and he won the 3 mile 4 Cork Grand National. So that's cracking form in my eyes. 16-1's a lovely price each way. But I'm going to stick with Ron Wilfred.
Ron Wilfred, same as John. But like you say, Braeside. So there's 3 of you there highlighting Braeside at about 16-1. So that could be a nice little each way price for the likes of myself.
Yeah, I think Rob James. Is it Rob James? I think it's going to be on Ron Wilfred.
Yeah.
I believe that's.
Can't blame 7 in it though.
No, that's right. Was it a graded race?
No, it's just amateur riders, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Okay, great stuff. So Runwell Fred still strong for John and Ian. Statler for Alex. And Matty, on the ropes, but you don't think
on the ropes if he runs, mate. If not, I'll have a little play on Braeside.
Okay, great stuff. So that wraps up day 1 then. So before we knock it on there and move on to day 2, if I was to ask you each for your bet of the day for day 1, we'll go to Alex first. It could be a big price on this one, couldn't it?
No, I'm going to stay safe on this one. I'm going to go Edwardstone. I think he's
Edwardstone,
rock solid.
Have I told you that no 8-year-old has won this race in the last 10 years?
I think you might have mentioned it once.
Okay, so Edwardstone is Alex's bet of the day. Matty.
I know I put Vintage Clouds up as my nap of the day on Dave's preview. I do like him. He's a great race. I don't think he's out of places. But I'm going to go my strongest bet on day 1. If Sir Gerhard does not run in the Supreme, I'm going with Mighty Potter.
Mighty Potter in the Supreme. Great stuff. John?
Yeah, with the uncertainty over Sir Gerhard, then I'm going to put up Runwell Fred as my nap of the day.
Runwell Fred in the National Hunt Chase. Last race of the day. Okay, and the Rain Man.
Honeysuckle each way.
I'm not going to get much back on my 50p each way on that.
Tell me something, girl, for the mare's hurdle for me.
Tell me something. You've been pretty consistent on that one through, haven't you, to be fair, mate. So tell me something, girl, in the mare's hurdle for Ian. That's it. So I think just about done with our day 1 preview, I think, chaps.
Happy. Great
stuff. Well, to you people out there, hope you enjoy the watch. Like, share. What do we say? Like, share, subscribe.
Turn on notifications.
Tell your family, tell your friends.
Everything. Yeah.
Comment, help the
algorithm. Shout it from the rooftops, everything. Slag us off in the comments. We don't care.
Yeah, we don't care.
Okay, great stuff. Thanks, chaps. And we'll be back soon with day 2.